What's up, Internet? I'm Chimera, and I'm bad at making videos. I had a whole episode recorded, ready to edit, and I was going to took a day off, and I was going to um, post this latest video, a day later than normal. But then when I began editing it, um, it was just awful. Like I stumble over my words a little bit when I'm reading, mostly because they're cold readings and I haven't like rehearsed them or anything like that. But it's like every now and then, it's not that bad. But in this particular video, I was this um, reading off this dialogue, and it was literally like every other word I was just stumbling over. I was breaking it up, and it was just really really bad. Um, so quick recap of where we're at. Um, we did a mission for Meredith, uh, freed some uh, freed some people for the Carnival of Light, and then we were directed to Nadia. Nadia is the leader of the Carnival of Light in this region, and she reveals that the survivor compound is being led by this guy who's gone a little crazy. He thinks he has a daughter. Everybody knows that he does not have a daughter, and he believes that his daughter has been kidnapped by the Carnival of Light. It was also revealed that the Carnival of Light is split into two factions. There's the Carnival of Light and the Carnival of War. And tensions between the Carnival and the compound are such that the Carnival of War is ready to just steamroll the place. Um, and there are a couple of individuals within the compound that are, you know, ready to go to town on a Carnival of War as well. So it's not looking good. So Nadia sent us to kind of investigate this alleged missing daughter, and it turns out that the woman is real. Uh, it's just not the leader's daughter, and we're kind of trying to figure out what's going on with that whole situation. We're on our way to meet Anna is the girl's name. Um, and Yeah, that's where we're at. So here we go. You hear mystical chanting up ahead.
Yo, don't do it! Don't do it! Yo! Yo, holy shit, he dead! Oh, he dead for sure!
Yep. I expected that. Right, so she's surrendering. Hold! I'll surrender to whatever foulness you work for. Who was it? Taggart? Dust? Who sent you? Taggart. Oh wait, no. Let's see here. We're not gonna do. Oh, we're not gonna do optionals. Um, Optional dialogue options just increase the chances I screw the dialogue up with my apparent inability to read. Calm down, Anna. Your father sent me. Tread carefully when speaking of my father. He is long dead, and his passing was unkind in its circumstance. No, he's waiting for you at the compound. Antebellum. Antebellum is her childhood nickname. Basically, um, it's going to be revealed why this is the case, but the leader of the compound has revealed to us information that only um, her father would know. So we are under the impression that he is, in fact, her father. And one of the things that he revealed was that Antebellum was her childhood nickname. How how do you know that name? My father called me that when I was only a child. When your best friend in the whole world has a tire, when your best friend in the whole world was a tireless bike. I know. He's alive, Anna. And the tireless bike was another thing that happened during her childhood. Her imaginary friend was a bike without tires, and it was her best friend, and she protected him from being made fun of by all the other bikes who had tires. My father is dead, Professor Lareaux. Of that I am sure. How you or he has come to know these things of me, though, I do not know, and it would have answers. I will meet with this monarch. I have affairs to settle with the shepherds here first, but I will be at the compound when you return to it. And I'll see you at the compound. So this is probably a little bit confusing, having missed an entire episode's worth of information, but I'm going to try to clear things up as we go along. They're staring at me, Professor Lareaux, and not with the normal unease reserved for a shepherd, but with um, of recognition, Anna. They've seen the monarch's paintings. They know you're his daughter. If you must know, my father died in the asylum shortly after the Emperor sent us to First Ward. He went insane from the iniquities he found here, and shortly after that the seers dragged him away. Orphaned in the ruins, I went native. Whoever you're talking who Whoever you're taking me to isn't my father, but I can see that some part of you wants him to be. And I choose to believe that's born out of compassion and not some baser agenda. Whatever the case, no one escapes the asylum, Professor Lareaux. This is either a trap or the prologue to something far more sinister. You would do good to prepare yourself for what happens next. I worked hard to get you here, Anna. We can do this. Let's get it over with then. We'll be fine. There's an unnatural tension in the air here. A cold... People don't talk like this. A cold emanation of an event gathering momentum. My beautiful antebellum, it's really you. What twisted deception is this? You're not my father. While you labored on all those portraits of me, did you once think to paint yourself? What do you mean? Why look on me too fast? I can't even, I'm not sure I could even read that fast to myself. Basically, that was just a whole thing of him getting excessively angry, and we're about to find out why. That was a ghost all along. Because of course it was. I am dying, Professor Lareaux, and these are my last wishes. It may seem quite mad to you, and it will seem so to the others of the compound, but they have known me long that way these days. What does that even mean? But tell Anna that she is my Palatine. The throne of the compound will pass to her now. You're doing this because you still have fragments of her as your daughter in your memory. Of course I do. I played host to that apparition for so long. To look on her is to feel a loss I cannot reconcile with my own memories. But she is strong and forthright and dear to me still, even without ties of blood. She will be a better leader for the compound than I have ever been. I have a feeling that the hetman will not like your last command. Then I make one more. you will find a way to enforce it. So basically, excuse the swallowing sounds. I hate the sound of swallowing. And I know that editing this video is going to drive me nuts because I keep hearing it. Because I'll keep hearing it. My mic keeps picking it up. So apologies. But yeah. So what just happened there is that we found out that the hetman thinking, not the hetman, the leader of the compound, the known as Monarch, he thought that he was missing a daughter. Turns out it wasn't actually his daughter, but someone else. And the spirit of her father was actually possessing him for who knows how long. And when we forcibly ejected the spirit from the monarch, uh, he, oh God, I'm trying to think of like 30 different things at the same time. I'm like trying to navigate, think about the accent that I'm going to give Nadia, trying to recap what we just did. You know what happened. There was a ghost. We kicked him out of the body, and then he commanded that she become the leader because reasons. Nadia here has a Creole accent that we're not going to hear. I tried it once, um, and it was awful. And listening to myself in a bad accent made me extremely uncomfortable. So I can't imagine what it would be like for somebody who actually does have a Creole accent who might be listening to this. So I'm not even going to try. Oh, another thing. Part of the setup for all of this was that some of the Carnival of Light, they knew something was wrong with the monarch. They didn't know what was wrong. They thought that maybe if they had turned themselves in, under the pretense of being his, finger quotes, daughter's kidnappers, that they might be able to like uncover at least part of the truth. So that never came to pass, and they just remained locked up for a while. And so Nadia sent us to try to figure out what we could do about getting them uh, out of the lockup, but that never happened. It's going to happen soon now that Anna is the leader of the compound, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Don't feel bad you didn't get my people out of the clink, Professor Lareaux. First Ward works by strange rules, and maybe we're following them now. You did good, child, and the Loas are pleased with you. And the Loas are pleased with you. And yet they are also alarmed that none of us suspected an apparition as some deranged puppet master behind this whole ragbag. Perhaps the vortex is making them stronger, or dulling our senses to them. I just have to think on it in a trance brought on by a lemonade overload. What does that even mean? Anna is the key now. She's the palatine of the compound. If you get past the last warders to if you get the rest of the last warders to recognize her authority, the last word is what the denizens of the compound have named the compound. If you get the rest of the last warders to recognize her authority instead of the hetmans, she'll be allowed to free the carnival troopers. And I got a sneaking suspicion that we'll see each other again. The spirits say you are closer to what it is that you need to do, but they don't say what it is you need to do. That is still a good sign, Professor Lareaux. I'm glad you came to old Nadia for answers. Are you ready to help Anna legitimize her throne? Very good, Professor Lareaux, because the watercolor regent needs your help desperately. All right, so we're going to go talk to Anna, now known as Palatine. I guess because I don't really understand what the word Palatine even means, I never understood why they changed her name from Anna to Palatine in the first place. Professor Lareaux, I was hoping you would show up. My throne is still considered the lip service of a dead madman, but here in First Ward, that is sometimes enough. I can only do so much as Palatine of the compound until I have solidified my position in the eyes of the people. The hetman rattles his saber so loudly that no one dares oppose him directly. He allows my signature only on mundane affairs, but that's where my current power stops. I'll need the agency of my friends to do anything more, and there is so very much work to do yet. As you have seen, the compound is a fragile bastion against the myriad evil running amuck in First Ward. Nobody talks this way. I'm very tempted to, like, before recording or like in between, like, pausing my recording sessions, reading these things until I can all but memorize them, and then starting the recording again. But that's gonna like mess with my ability to edit, because my editing isn't great to begin with. Um, I'm only just now learning how to do things in the editor that I'm using. In fact, if you go back and watch uh, my earlier videos and watch them all in, chronological order, you can kind of see it almost serves as like a visual journal of my learning process and progress with learning how to edit videos. But if I just stopped and started every single time I had to read something, that would be a nightmare for me to edit. For a professional editor, that might not be such a big deal, but like I can't do multiple takes. This isn't like I'm not in a recording booth, um, and you know, I'm not cutting out like the best lines. I'm not a voice actor, although I might. That is something that I've considered working towards, but um, yeah. So I guess we're gonna keep trying until I get it right. Though the headman will not admit it, we need to be fostering more alliances with those around us, not alienating the ones we already had. The Carnival of Light will not protect us again until we heal the schism that has risen between us. And we cannot heal that schism until my sovereignty is recognized. It's chess now with the hetman, and I think I have found my next move. The forlorn live below us in the tunnels beneath the compound. They are former ghouls who have had their minds restored through the efforts of Dr. Helix and other brave souls at the Battle of at the Battle of Neutropolis. So this could be considered a spoiler, but there are some events that happened in uh, the chronological past to what's happening in this quest line. Part of it happened in the introductory, like low level Praetorian starting area. Some of it happened actually in part of the end game before Going Rogue was released. Uh, Praetoria actually started to kind of fall apart. What with the resistance and incursions from Primal Earth, um, essentially Emperor Cole decided that he was going to invade Primal Earth and take over and essentially just get everybody that was remaining on Praetoria uh, and move them to Primal Earth and set them up as the dominant group. There isn't much to Praetoria. There's only a cluster of cities, and everything else, the entire planet, has been consumed by the devouring Earth and the Hamadon. So the Battle of Neutropolis, if I recall correctly, is the last couple of missions. If you don't outlevel the quest chain, which is very easy to do, but if you don't outlevel the chain of missions leading up to it, the Battle of Neutropolis, I believe takes place as the very last chain of missions in the Praetorian starter zone, where Primal Earth, like Longbow, is like a superhero military organization, and Arachnos, we've talked about them before, are kind of infiltrating, and as a Praetorian player, you're tasked with driving them back or whatever, and then that's when it's revealed that Praetoria is dying, and you get to choose whether or not you want to go to the Rogue Isles as a villain or Paragon City as a hero. That's what I think she's referring to here. They are a pitiable folk, the forlorn, trapped in their now desiccated frames, remembering every hideous act they committed in the red-minded madness of their former affliction. They are pariahs, even here in First Ward, and they would make powerful friends. Find the hetman and convince him to let you enter the tunnels and speak to the forlorn. He will bluster and mock my efforts to parley with them, but he will not deny you. The compound is afraid of the forlorn, thinking them monsters, and perhaps understandably so, but if word got out that the hetman denied your help in dealing with them, he would lose face. Either way, I edge closer to the seat of my birthright. I don't know what birthright she's talking about. She wasn't the dude's daughter. My thanks, Professor Lareaux. The hetman will no doubt consider this a political maneuver, and he wouldn't be entirely wrong about that. But the forlorn do present a problem to the compound. He'll listen to you. And we saw some of the ghouls in the Interrogator Lareaux episode. They're just kind of almost like Praetoria's version of zombies. They were once people. They're not quite dead, but they are they appear frail and very hunched over, and just they're creatures now basically. And we're about to see that the forlorn were once ghouls that have kind of recovered from the feral nature of ghouls, and we'll see here. Professor Lareaux, you've come to convince me to let your carnival friends go again? The Palatine already made that command. You're still ignoring it. The only command that I'm ignoring is the last one given by a monarch who wasn't in his right mind. I don't trust that girl. I don't trust how she magically appeared, and I'm beginning not to trust you, Professor Lareaux. Now speak your mind or go back to the gumbo. The Palatine says you've been having trouble with the forlorn. And let me guess, you want to help me out. Wait, silly me. Let's say that again with the color obvious turned on. Oh, okay. People don't talk like that, so I didn't understand what he was getting at. Let's say that again with the color obvious turned on. The so-called Palatine wants to make a gesture both to me and the people of the last word by helping out with the ghoul problem. And you're her running dog. making sure it all transpires. Paranoid much? I'm just here to help. I do need the help. Listen, these forlorn aren't like any ghouls you may have encountered before. They're more disciplined, able to show a measure of tactical acumen on the battlefield. If you're detecting a hint of admiration in my voice, it's because you're missing my point completely. The forlorn are still monsters. Don't forget that. The fact that they can think only makes it worse. I can handle them. Good to hear, because the last recon patrol I sent out to check on them certainly couldn't. They went into the tunnels outside the compound and vanished. Wait, why were you sending recon patrols into the forlorn tunnels in the first place? Remember when we first met, Professor Lareaux? Dust was poking its nose around too close to the compound, and I had you deal with it. Same story here. It's called keeping tabs on your enemy, genius. And while you're playing fetch for that ineffectual, high-talking little shepherd girl, I'm still making sure we're all protected. Here, the recon patrol had a portable tracer beacon with them. This tag scanner will hone in on their trail. Find whatever is left of my people and take care of any forlorn you encounter. I'll find them. And this mission is going to present one of many moral choices. I believe we've encountered a couple already. Basically, I'm going to be presented with the choice of either kind of going along with Anna's original plan and getting the Forlorn to kind of be allies with us, or I can side with the Hetman and beat the living daylights out of every single one of them. Professor Lareaux is an intellectual, so the choice is obvious. I'm going to go with Palatine. The tag scanner is picking up the recon. The tag scanner is picking up the recon team's tracker. The tag scanner is picking up the recon team's tracer beacon. They're close. I'll just wait for him to come back. Don't need to aggro those other guys because once he reaches a certain health level, he's going to initiate dialogue instead. So I'm just going to wait for him to come back. Okay. Okay. Everyone just stop. There's been enough violence in these There's been enough violence in these last few days. And you stay right there, topsider. You've got the smell of the gumbo on you, but only slightly. You're a newcomer, but I won't ask what brought you here, or more likely, who forced you into First Ward. That's your own business. I will ask, though, what brings you down into our tunnels? The last few visitors we had, well, they weren't willing to answer that. They were too busy trying to pump us full of lead. Bunch of so-called recon soldiers from the compound. More of a kill team, the way they acted. You know 'em? That's who I'm looking for. And I mean you no harm. Between you and me, the Forlorn have bigger troubles than keeping the compound yahoos captive. So I'll make you a deal. We'll stay here all peaceful like until you do something uncool. You can speak to the recon soldiers we have locked up. You can even free them if you want. That's your call. But if any of them do something uncool, then we're going to hold you responsible. Which is to say, we'll beat you down. And choose carefully which ones you want to save. The ones named Shale and Biddle are itching for a rematch with us. Understood. So this is the moral choice that we have. There are, I think, 6 members of the recon team. 3 of them, if you set them free, will immediately attack the Forlorn and immediately make all of the Forlorn hostile to you. So we've got to talk to these guys and find out which ones are cool and which ones are hostile. Professor Lareaux, I recognize you from the compound. Are you going to get us out of here? Some of you, maybe. How have the Forlorn been treating you? Well, it's prison, but I would have thought we'd be executed by now, considering that we came in and started shooting at them without warning. After they subdued us and threw us in these cells, it's been nothing but 3 meals a day. One of them even bandaged me up. We were wrong about them, Professor Lareaux. The Forlorn aren't evil. The fact that they're letting you decide my fate peacefully should be enough to prove that. So you're going to let me out of here? Yes, but keep your cool. I want to get through this without violence. I was hoping you'd say that. Let's make a beeline for the exit. I swear I won't cause any problems. All right. You from the compound? Who sent you? Long story. Are you hurt? Not at all. The Forlorn were real gentlemen. But as soon as you get me out of here, I'm going to punch their faces in. Nice. You're a chump and a troublemaker. You deserve to stay locked up. What? Are you crazy or something? If you're siding with the ghouls instead of the hetman, then you can bite me, chomper. Thanks for nothing. Enjoy your stay. The compound doesn't need loose cannons like you. Did the headman send you? He and the Palatine both did. How are you holding up? How am I holding up? I'm sitting in a ghoul cell. Sorry, a forlorn cell. Same difference. What? Are you their spokesman or something? Well, here's how it's going to work. You're going to let me out, and I'm going to carry out my orders, which is simple. Kill these scumbags. That's exactly the sort of nonsense I don't need right now. You're staying here. If you're not going to help me wipe the floor with these monsters, then stay out of my face. Shove off, Chomper. Keep talking. Maybe a few years down here will cool your jets, tough guy. Have you come from the compound? Why aren't the Forlorn attacking you? I struck a deal with them. Are you all right? I'm fine, considering the circumstances. The Forlorn haven't touched us since we were taken captive. I mean, yeah, they fought back when the team attacked them, but that's our fault. We invaded their territory, thinking that they were the boogeymen ready to pounce on us at any moment. But that isn't the case. They've got problems of their own. They never even had aspirations of moving in on the compound. That was just the headman's own paranoia. We should have ignored his orders to come down here and we should have ignored his orders to come down here and just blind fire. You hear what I'm saying? Are you going to let me out of here? We'll go back and tell the Hetman that. You're free. Thanks, Professor Lareaux. I'll stay at your side and won't cause any trouble. I've done enough to these poor creatures already. So that's an interesting take. The Hetman told us that it was a recon mission. This guy just told us that their orders were to actually kill everybody. How'd you get past the Forlorn? Simple. I spoke to them reasonably. How are you feeling? I'm a little scared. Who wouldn't be? I keep expecting the Forlorn to exact some revenge for our bonehead attack on them. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Look, Professor Lareaux, whatever we were told about the Forlorn was more of the Hetman getting as unhinged as the Monarch used to be. The Forlorn, they're just people. Scary looking. Used to be cannibal people, but people, okay? And if you let me go back to the compound, I'll spread the word, even if it gets me thrown into another cell. Let's get out of here. And don't cause any trouble with the Forlorn. Music to my ears. I'm gone. I think there's one other dude, maybe. Just an empty cell. All right, that's it. Alrighty. In our next episode, we're going to discover what the consequences are for us siding with the Palatine rather than the Hetman. Until then, goodbye.